welcome back to the underground lair here at Stringman Guitars. We have ourselves a Kiesel. Shortly after they changed their names back from Carvin to the original name of Kiesel, the name of their founder, they started doing things like they upgraded their pickup line, which they make in-house in California, and they started using Hipshot hardware, which is great. Moss burst flame maple with the Hipshot Trem. Really cool headstock design. Locking Kiesel tuners. Graphtec nut. HSH volume tone and 5-way switch. I noticed that the D and the G buzz a little bit, but I have not checked to see where our, let's get that out of there, where our relief is. I've just tuned it up, and this is a neck through design. I'll show you the back while we're here. See, there's your maple neck, alder wings. Really sweet looking. Moss burst. So yeah, where were we? We're checking our relief. At the body joint, we want 10 thou. 3, 5, 7, and that truss rod could be tightened a little bit. So let's do that. One simple screw holds on the truss rod cover. So we're back here with our Kiesel DC127 and the truss rod. I don't know if you can see it in there or not. Probably not. But anyhow, looks like the old truss rod that I'm used to with the Carvins, but it actually has a sleeve, and the you know, it's a big honking truss rod, but you look in there with a light and there's a sleeve that's around it and it goes inside there. So I took a while of me going through my imperial and metric sizes to find the right truss rod, and in the case was a 4 mil, which is what Carvin has always been, or Kiesel. And sure enough, inside there's a little sleeve, you know, that you actually get into. I wasn't in far enough. So it is a 4. We'll put away these other implements of destruction, and we'll check our relief now that I tightened the truss rod. We're looking for 10 thou. I like that. It may change with new strings, but at least we're started in the right direction. One other thing I wanted to point out about this guitar is stainless steel frets standard. So that's kind of cool, isn't it? Alright, so we're going to yank the strings off of this, clean up the bridge plate a little bit. Okay, boys and girls, locking tuners. How do you do locking tuners? Well, for guitars that have a Trem system, first thing you're going to want to do is put a little bit of lubricant. It's out of the picture, I know. On the saddles. Tends to stay in place. Also run it down the any place where there's contact. The edge of the, I guess the bridge plate where the strings come out. because it's going to be contact. And then you put a little bit in the nut as well. All the lube you can give a guitar with a trem, that's what you want to do. So your locking tuners, what I always do is I just make the hole straight. Make sure that the ball end is in the position, and you tighten down the knurled knob. Put it in the nut slot. You're done. Boom. Once again, it's straight, pull it through, crank it down, and you're done. Okay, so all of our strings are on, and we've got fairly decent tension on them. It's all going to change in a minute, because that eraser is holding the bridge up. Alright, so yeah, that's holding the bridge up. That's almost out. Clean all the muck off. Now the bridge is way too high. So what we're going to do, back off on our tuning a little bit, because remember, we have locking tuners. Tighten up the claw a little bit. Sorry, I had to put the space heater on. It's dang cold down here. Alright. That's about where we want it. Okay, so what I am going to do, let's see here, where are it? Okay, everything's kind of flat. Where are my blocks? These things are great. I think that's the right one. Loosen those claw screws just a little bit. Yeah, this one will work. So you see I have a wood block in here. It's keeping the block up against it. I took the screws out a little bit to let the string tension pull against this. That's exactly where I want it. Now, we can tune it up, being sure that the block isn't going to move on us. Because as I put tension on it, the block is going to want to come up, but it can't because that piece of wood's there. And then you gotta go and stretch your strings. So where the bridge wants to be, slightly at an angle, it has a recessed cavity so you can pull back on it, very similar to what you'd have on a PRS. The block is still firmly in place, so let's check our string height. What we want is 4/64 17th fret. We have 4, we have 4, we have less than 4, we have less than 4. That's why they were buzzing earlier. Let's find the right key for these. That's not it. That's it. And as you've seen me say a million times in my videos, make sure that all the saddles are straight unto themselves. Take a look now. Okay, we've got our 4, got our 4, got our 4, got our 4. Ah, not quite 4. I love the feel of these, this hardware. It's so solid and precise. There's 4, and that one's 4. Okay, so we're 4 across. Now we can check for intonation. Let's just double check make sure there's no string buzz. That could still come up a little bit. Try to get it as low as you can without it buzzing. Sometimes it's not possible to tune the guitar whenever you're turning the wrong key. Alright, let's try it again. Yeah. Alright, let's double check our relief, just because we can. And we're still exactly where I want it. Okay, so that's cool. Now, intonation. E is on. A is on. D is on. G is a little bit sharp. So that means it's got to come back. Just a little bit. Okay, the G's on. B is on. E is a little bit sharp. Yeah. So that means that saddle's going to come back a little bit. Flat goes that way, sharp they move that way. Okay, E is on. Now, what we have to do is we have to tighten the claw until the bar, or not the bar, but the block in the back falls out. There we go. Ha! How about that? That puts us right where the yeah, that puts us right where it was with the block in there. Too much. There we are. Beauty of these blocks from, where are they from? Skyscraper Guitars. Allows you to get yourself tuned up to where you want to be, very close to it, and get real close to the ballpark so you can make the final fine adjustments. Okay, now, where was that intonation we were talking about? It's right there. It's right there. Oh, I love it. There we go. Now, the only thing left to do, and we just have to work in the strings. Remember the lube we put down here, and the lube we put in the nut, all the moving parts that have friction to them. And as you work this in, everything's staying pretty close to being in tune. Yeah, everything's kind of settling down now. There, it's all in tune. Last thing is pickup height. And the thing that I think is really cool on the carving, some Fenders do this too, but you see 2 screws here, 1 screw here. That allows you to balance the pickup so it's level. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. That can come up some. Perfect. And that can come up a little bit. Perfect. I do not know if this one is adjustable. It is. I thought that could come up a little bit too. Perfect. I want to thank you for joining us for another episode of Stringman Guitars in the Underground Lair. Had this moss green burst Kiesel DC127. We made the springs all parallel as opposed to that chicken foot, or you know, pointed arrangement that a lot of companies use. The reason I do that is because if you're doing some crazy dive bombs and lifts, you can easily lose the middle spring because that one is under the least amount of tension. So if you're going to use just 2 springs, don't use the middle one, adjust for it. At least that's what I was taught. So if you like what you see here, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell. I would certainly appreciate it. I'm so close to 1,000 subscriptions, I'd like to push it over. You can do your part. Alright, very brief, what did we do here? Oiled the fingerboard, cleaned the fingerboard, oiled the fingerboard, lubed everything up, changed strings, intonation, string height, pickup height. Fixed the switch that was making noise. It was just dirty. So I'm going to let this sit overnight and button it up tomorrow. Tell everybody to come and get it. And you have a happy new year. Take care of each other. This Omicron is like wildfire. Protect yourself, wear a mask, do what you got to do, and peace.